Are you ready? The Kornelia Stephanie Show. Wake up to love, your call to action. Join Kornelia as she empowers others to live heaven on earth. Kornelia teaches listeners how to be the authority over yourself, embracing your inner guru. Feel yourself uplifted into limitless expansion, integrating ease and grace in a changing world. This show will cover topics such as unconditional love, your physical body, how to be in extraordinary relationships, create financial and emotional wealth, embracing entrepreneurship in the new earth. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Kornelia Stephanie Show. It is Tuesday, September the 5th, 2023. And I'm here with my good friends, Pia and Cullen. And welcome, Pia and Cullen. How are you?
Well, thank you.
We're good. Are you sure it's Tuesday?
I had to really look at the calendar and think, yeah, is it Tuesday? And nowadays it's hard to know what day it is.
Yeah,
We're losing.
no kidding.
We're losing all track of what day it is.
What month it is.
If we didn't have a huge whiteboard that's over here to my right in our studio office, I don't think we'd know what day it was, what month it was, maybe what our names are.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. It feels like very fluid in the now, being totally in the now and not being too, in the calendar, not being in the. It doesn't matter if it's Saturday. It doesn't matter if it's Monday. It doesn't matter. But here we are. It's September 2023. We're here to talk about how we're navigating these ascension energies, how we're co-creating our heaven on earth, our new earth together. And I'm telling you, I am feeling excited right now. And I feel like over this last, I want to bring it back to Venus, with Venus being retrograde. It really has taken me personally, because I'm also a Libra, and Venus is definitely part of my program here. So has taken me again, going deep down into the darkest crevice that I had to go to look at again what I value, what's important to me, what looking at the past, looking at all of my experiences, and again making peace with that. And so, and it's been great, and well, it's been challenging. It's been really challenging and humbling, to say the least. But I said, I'm not running from this. I'm present with this, and I want to go through this. I'm going to feel this all, whatever this is. And now it's like coming out, and now it's like, okay, great. I feel reborn. I feel the fire coming online, and I'm excited to co-create. And so you were saying to me before we came on that you just submitted your prediction article in the Sedona Journal, Cullen, and you were saying that Larkma was also letting you know that there's new energy. And do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. You want to start?
I want to start with taking it back a step to what we were talking about with time, because one of the things they addressed in this article is that the way we're moving forward is by letting go of time and continually being fully present in the now moment. And it's interesting to tie that into what you just said about Venus, because Venus just shifted into a very important phase. And the Venus phase cycle on Sunday, the phase of fullness. If you put that together with being in the now, I think it's pretty auspicious. You want to fill her in on some of the other things Larkma said?
Well, it's really interesting. The Sedona Journal, which has been published for decades and decades, it's mostly about channeling, but also astrology, numerology. But the basic emphasis is always channeling. And there is an issue one month out of each year that's completely dedicated to predictions for the next year, the upcoming year.
Mhm.
And we've been contributing to this for, I don't know,
10 years.
10
at
years,
least.
12 years, long time. And Larkma always tells people in this article that they write through us that they don't really make predictions, that they talk about possible potentialities. And the reason they say that is because from their perspective, they know that anything that's predicted, whether it's ancient, whether it's shamanic, whether it's from any particular group or individual, any prediction can change. Any prediction can evolve. And what people or what energies say that is upcoming, that will happen, often doesn't happen. And the reason Larkma talks about this is because they say we humans are much more powerful than we understand. We are much, much more creative. We have so much more ability to change things. And so in the beginning of this particular article, they said, we don't really make predictions. We make quasi predictions. We talk about what might happen, but all of you reading this have to realize that your input is extremely important.
Primarily because this is a planet of choice. And it's our job and our responsibility to make intelligent, conscious choices. So even if something is predicted really good or really bad, it doesn't matter what the prediction is, which polarity, we can change it by, if we're going around grumbling about everything and criticizing and blaming and judging, a good prediction can turn sour. If there's a really dire prediction that's really awful and we send light into the situation and we trust in the universe and in each other, we can wipe out that potentiality altogether. So they've given us to share with the world what they see for 2024. And one of the main things that they're talking about is that we will be moving more and more into the experience of being in the now moment. No time. I mean, we'll have to keep notes of, obviously, calendars of what our schedules are, what we have to do, but you write it down in your schedule, and then you stay in the now moment and focus on now, not tomorrow or yesterday.
So this article fits in exactly with what you spoke about just a minute ago with your introduction.
Mm-hmm.
They spoke about excitement about what's going to happen, about trust, about hope, about all the things that we can look forward to that we're co-creating, that we're part of, not just that it's going to happen, but that we're part of the process. We're part of what actually takes place, even if things are predicted that are slightly different or even greatly different than what really occurs in the future. So we talked about elastic time. We talked about being excited. You talked about being excited. This is a time to be excited.
So the way I understand the prediction piece is the reason why we don't make predictions in that sense is because everyone is creating their own reality and they have to choose which reality they're creating. So the prediction can be, you know, everything is great. We're doing, you know, all the wonderful things that we're creating, the hope and the trust and the truth and all of that. But it's up to each and every one of us to choose that which we are creating and that which we are energizing. It's up to each person individually to choose their sovereignty, to choose their paradigm, to choose what world you're energizing, the old dying world or the new earth. Where are you focused, right? So the probability that you said that Larkma talks about that is there, those are timelines that we can align with in our consciousness, with our consciousness, and saying, yeah, that's where we want to go. Yes, that's what we want to create. But in the end, like Pia said, it's up to each and every one of us to choose that paradigm, to choose that timeline, to choose that now, to choose that reality.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, but never forgetting that we are a collective species. We are not only our individual aspects. So when we choose, those choices need to be banded together for the highest good of all, not this is what I want for me in my world. It has to be inclusive of what is for the highest good of all. And there's a difference between a prediction and an intention. And part of what we have to do is intend the way we wish to see it, rather than relying on some prediction. Intending it is more powerful because we use all of our creative juice, all of our creative energy, put that into what we wish to see happen. And then, as you say on your website, call it into action. Stand up and say, yes, this is what we demand. No, we won't put up with this anymore. The call to action is really going to be present in 2024.
So it was interesting because yesterday, I've gotten deeper into my journal work now because I was really present with the challenges and the circumstances that I found myself in over this last cycle, with Venus being retrograde, and just really looking at all the old stuff that I needed to, look at again. And so I've gotten deeper into the journal, and where I came out again yesterday, looking at, like, this is a mess. This is a mess right here. This right here is a mess. And these are the things that I'm going to clean up. This will get handled. This will get handled. And how that will get handled, I have no idea, but this will get handled. So that was so empowering to see, to look at the mess and see the mess. And like, yep, these are all the things that need my attention. This is what needs to get handled. This is what needs to get done. I'm looking at this elephant right here. And then I'm back here with my blank sheet of paper of what am I creating, while simultaneously looking at the elephant and looking at all of that. And that felt so good, by being with the mess and looking at the mess. Oh, this is a big job, And but I'm, like I said, I'm feeling excited about getting to work on it, and not feeling like, because looking at the mess per se over the last few months of looking at all of these things again, and then seeing, like, neutralizing it. That was also the thing, is not having a judgment about it. This is just what is, and I'm not my circumstance, right? That whatever situation, challenge I'm finding myself in is not, that's not the problem. So how I approach this, how I perceive this, what will I do about this? How will I move forward? So this is the excitement now, because it's like, okay, cool. Here's all of this. And now what am I creating? And what are we going to create as a collective? Like you said, it is a collective that is now ready to look at our big mess that we have and what we need to focus on. Would you agree with that?
Well, what you're describing, Kornelia, is conscious growth. You're talking about looking at whatever we're dealing with personally, and the bigger picture also of what the collective is either doing or not doing, choosing to do or resigning themselves not to do. What you're talking about is using consciousness as a tool for growth. What you're describing about your process that you've just been going through is absolutely about going inward, looking at what's going on, maybe looking at things we thought we were finished with, but guess what? Maybe we weren't quite finished with it yet. It's all about growth. And what you just said a moment ago is also really important. Obstacles, chaos, challenges are not a bad thing. They are also growth potentials. It's how we respond to them rather than reacting to them. If we change our perspective, if we look at things in a new paradigm way, instead of clinging to or being resigned to, oh, things are just not going to get better, the old stuff just keeps happening over and over again. If we stop ourselves right there and say, guess what? I'm not going to do that anymore.
Mhm.
I'm going to create a new paradigm. I am going to create what I want, what's best for me. And as Pia said, not only best for me, but best for the collective, for the highest good of all. So what you're talking about is essential to growth and to really, really moving forward.
And the thing about, I don't like this, it keeps happening, we cause that. We are the ones who are stuck in the same loop of how we react to a certain situation instead of stopping, taking a breath, and going, how can I do it differently? Something may be happening that we say is totally not our fault, and that may be true. But that doesn't mean we have to react to it in the same old, tired, dysfunctional pattern. Choose a different way to interact with the situation, and you get out of the loop.
And the part about how we're reacting or how we're responding is remembering that we're not a victim. We're not
Mhm.
victims here, because we're, we are creating, like Pia said, we caused, we were responsible for what situation we find ourselves in. There was definitely patterns and habits and things that we we're creating, and now coming back full circle and saying, okay, what can I do here to make this better? What
Mhm.
can I do to shift this and create a different reality? And that's the part that I'm so excited about right now, because, like you said, there is hope, there is truth, there is excitement, there's forward movement. And here we are in September, and we're, closing out 2023, in this last quarter here, and moving forward into 2024. And what do we want to energize? What world are we creating? And I think that even right now, with everything that's happening on the world stage, with all the different things that are going on, we see the collapse of things. We see the old dying world. We see people suffering. We see so many things. It's even more and more important that we in our world here that we're creating, that stays strong, and that is in the now, and that is what we're energizing, because we as a collective are co-creating what it is that we want, and we don't want to make the same mistakes that we've made in the past, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what's exciting. I'm really excited about beginning, rolling up my sleeves, rolling up our sleeves, and getting to work and doing what needs to be done. It's kind of like wax on, wax off,
Yes.
carry water, right? And just working simply with what's right before you.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
And then seeing all the things that, like I said, called it the elephant or the mess that's there, but creating from a clean slate.
Yeah, absolutely. There's also an astrological component. You and Pia both spoke about the influence of Venus and what Venus is doing. Pluto has been in Capricorn for 16 years, a very long ride. In January of next year, of 2024, Pluto is going to leave Capricorn and enter Aquarius. That is going to bring a benchmark or a landslide of different energy to everything. Capricorn, which is controlled by Saturn, is all about structure, all about rules, all about discipline, control,
Time.
all of the things that keep us completely in a box. Well, On January 21st, Leo, whoa,
On January 1st,
No.
Pluto
Will
will move
leave.
into Aquarius.
which will bring a new paradigm of freedom, less structure. Go ahead.
Pluto is ruled, not Pluto, now I'm doing it. It must be contagious. Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, which is the planet of change. And it's unpredictable change, oftentimes, sudden and unpredictable. So 2024 is going to be full of things we never anticipated. And if we want to do our part in this ascension process, we've got to be on our toes in the now moment continually with whatever is happening in the world and within ourselves in order to say, okay, this is different. How do I want to respond to this? It's going to be a great portal for more freedom. And I want to take this into what you said about sovereignty. Yes, I am all for our standing up for our sovereignty. We really need to do that. But I think we need to start addressing sovereignty as a unit, not our individual sovereignty, but our sovereignty for our species. Do we together want to make this collective leap? Do we want to do what's for the highest good of all? I want our sovereignty to be, okay, we have an agenda out there that's been trying to control all of humanity. How about we humans stand up and say, no, we're not doing that anymore. We have sovereign rights that we want to put into place, and these are the things we demand. That's what I want to see happen in 2024.
So
We could start now, that'd be fine.
Yeah.
So there is excitement in the energy and in the air, because what we've just been sharing and speaking about together is really going to be a game changer. We are really going to step away from control, restriction, rules, time. We are really, just in 4 short months from now, we're going to step into a completely different atmosphere that is exciting and is potentially going to give us much, much more freedom, both personally and collectively. And I find hope, courage, joy in that transition from, 16 years is a really long time to be involved with so much of what's been happening to us personally and collectively. Stepping away from that very long cycle, I am so looking forward to this, because I think we're going to be different people. I think when we talk about creating the new earth, creating the new heaven on earth, I think just after 2024 begins, we're really going to be able to actually start in a much more concentrated, in a much more powerful way, that creative step towards the new earth.
I had that thought yesterday too about Pluto and Capricorn. And the thought came is that Pluto is exhausted. It's like, because you said he's been in Capricorn for how long? Like, this whole time period. It's like, whew, whew. It's like Pluto is exhausted in Capricorn now. It's like excited to get out of Capricorn and go into Aquarius and do the next cycle. How long is Pluto going to be in Aquarius? Is it the same, like many years?
I think it's longer. I'm not
24,
sure, but I think it's 24 years.
It'll be
24.
It'll be from 2024 to 2044.
Yeah.
So it'll be 20 to 22 years roughly.
Yeah.
So that's really telling us, like you said, everything that we've been focused on with Saturn and, the structure and what structures are we creating. And with Pluto, it's always going into the underworld and clearing out the old so that we can neutralize the old and make peace with the past and transform it and transcend it and create structures that we want to build upon, that we ourselves are choosing, like Pia said, that we demand that these new structures that represent our sovereignty as a whole, not as the old controlled human that, stood by and did everything that we were told to do by the powers that were, And now we are, uh, you know, and we've been doing this with Pluto and Capricorn for a long time. And I know for you, Colin, it was pretty intense because you are, what are you, a quadruple Capricorn?
Quintuplet. I am so involved with Pluto. I have 5 planets that are affected by Pluto in a very, very strong way.
I have watched Pluto steamroll multiple 5 different parts of Cullen's personality over the last 16 years. It's been a real train wreck.
I've been
hard.
I have been bombarded.
Yeah.
I have been completely immersed in the positive sides of Pluto and the maybe more negative sides. But something I want to talk about too, thank you for bringing that up. Pluto often gets a bad rap, that it's a negative influence, that it's a harsh influence. It is in many ways, but at the same time, as you just said, Kornelia, Pluto allows us, if even it doesn't challenge us, to go deeply into the underworld of our own makeup and really look at what we need to change, what we need to destroy, what we need to walk away from. And so Pluto, although it seems harsh and it seems controlling, at the same time, it gives us the opportunity to do the deepest work, the very deepest work we can possibly do.
And I have also witnessed with this 5 planets in Capricorn person over here, when the train wreck happens and the harsh stuff is coming in, I have watched him get the shovel and dig the stuff out of the way and say, let's get this train back on track in a new and better way. And that's what Pluto wants you to do in Capricorn. And we have 4 months left as a collective to deal with that very energy. What are we going to do? What are we going to shovel out that's wrecked, that doesn't work, to clear the pathway for what's coming next? And then we'll be living in the now moment much more freely.
And people who have been conscious of this for the past 16 or so years, who have done their work, are going to have the ability to zoom when Pluto leaves Capricorn and enters Aquarius. People that have been doing their shadow work, who have been doing their personal work, who have really, really been digging deeply into their psyche, are going to open up and have a completely different experience. And I can say, I am so looking forward to that.
Yeah. And that's why I said, it's Pluto is exhausted in, like going through all the things with Capricorn. I was having that thought about it yesterday. And, I was born in the Pluto generation. So I'm a Pluto generated child during that time. And I love Pluto, and I call Pluto the god of the underworld. We're going to go down into the darkest hole, and we're going to find the most decay that's down there, all the things that have expired, and we're going to bring it up to the surface, and we're going to make it shiny and new, and we're going to restore it. And that restoration, you saying you've been hit by a train wreck all these years, having to go through all of that, and now you are this restored divine masculine man that is shining and clean and clear with, after having looked at all of the old stuff that has outlived its welcome in our new earth creation.
Absolutely. And on top of what you just said, I have to reconcile and realize that this was probably the best thing that's ever happened to me, because if I hadn't had this opportunity, I wouldn't have looked at the challenges. I wouldn't have looked at the obstacles. And it's not just me, because I have so many planets involved.
Right.
It's everybody. Everybody has the opportunity to make this deep dive that you're describing.
I want to read something that a friend of ours sent to us just in the last week that I think fits in really well right here. I don't know why I had it handy today, but boy, does it fit. This is a quote from an unknown, nobody knows who said it, but it's worth hearing. Be thankful for every heartbreak, for they were planned. They come to your life just to reveal another layer of yourself to you and then leave. Their purpose is to shake you up, tear apart your ego a little bit, show you your obstacles and addictions, break your heart open so new light can get in, make you so desperate and out of control that you have to transform your life. And you do. That's exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah, that's lovely. That is truly lovely.
And that is the journey. That is the ascension journey that we're all in. And Pluto is helping us to really clean things up and, look at how we want to structure and build our new earth. What do we want to build it on? Because the old world wasn't sustainable with the new human, where we're going, the new earth creation. And so this has been helping us. And like that beautiful quote said, every heartbreak, everything that has hurt us, or whatever it is that we've been challenged with, even though we might not have wanted to go deep down into the cellar and look at the nastiness and dirtiness that's there, because it's uncomfortable and we don't want to get dirty or, whatever. It's been really good. So we've got a good foundation to build upon. And I too am really glad that Pluto is being released from Capricorn. And, now, somebody was saying to me the other day, Kornelia, you are so serious. And I said, I am. And it's serious, meaning that, I have my midhaven in Pluto, in Capricorn, I mean. So for me, creating the structure, again, it's important and it is serious. And it doesn't mean that we don't laugh, and it doesn't mean that we don't sing in the sunshine and have joy, but being responsible, we have to be there. It's serious business. We're co-creating our new earth. It's serious, So I find it interesting that now we're being released from this heavy, heavy duty work. Those of us that have been tirelessly working on this for years and years and years, as we have, doing that shadow work, doing that deep work, raising our consciousness, raising our vibration, cleaning out all the things. And here we are now, and even like moving into 2023, early on, moving into 23 and going through this year, I still felt like I was, personally I felt like I was, battle weary, if you will, like being out at war and, coming back from war, and like, I still felt like battle weary. So like lots of trauma, lots of things to look at and be with. And now I feel like that has integrated or released and let go. And now I'm looking forward to create again.
Mm-hmm. We are collectively very programmed in duality with the process of I'm right and you're wrong, that whole process, which leads everybody into finger pointing and blame. And I think one of the greatest places we have opportunity right now is to make a conscious leap away from blame and recognize what that quote was saying. Everything is happening for you on purpose, not to you. So therefore, if somebody does something to you, they're only providing a trigger to give you opportunity to grow. And we need to put that into place, not only in interpersonal relationships with family members, with co-workers, with people in everyday life. We need to put that into place globally and stop finger pointing at other nations, other cultures, everything. Stop blaming others and recognize that there is a ruffled edge there somewhere. It's triggering us to take action. And that's the place where we stand up and say, this is not okay. Let's fix it. And that's really what I think is necessary as our next step.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Cullen.
Well, there's no place in unity for blame or judgment. If we're truly doing our best to create unity in all ways, interpersonally, interspecies wise, intergalactically, if we're really truly trying to create a unified field where everybody's equal, where everybody works together, where there's only cooperation, no competition, blame and judgment have to go away. We can't simultaneously live in both of those camps. It won't work. So P is absolutely right. Those things have to be dealt with. They have to be recognized as individual responsibility work.
What's your quote about compassion and reaction?
Well, I wrote something years and years ago that if I can remember this at all correctly, it was, if you're in a state of compassion, you cannot be in a state of reaction. And conversely, if you're in a state of reaction, you cannot be in a state of compassion.
And that is exactly associated with what we're talking about blame and triggers.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, we see that a lot playing out right now, especially with the division that's happening in America, with the politics and the blame that's going on both camps and all of that. And all of that, really, everyone is making their choices on where they are. And we have to allow people to be where they are. Right.
Mhm.
And that is okay. And not judge them as, you're doing that wrong, or you shouldn't be over here. You shouldn't do it like this. You know, and put judgment on people. And again, I'm going to come back to this with, it always starts with yourself. I was talking with someone about this the other day because she was saying how she feels about her body, and how, you know, she was projecting onto her boyfriend. He must think this about my body. He must think this about my body. He's thinking this. And I reminded her, it's not him that's thinking that, it's you that's thinking that about your body. And it's you that's projecting that about yourself to your body. You're putting that judgment on yourself. And you have to put a line in the sand to absolutely no judgment against yourself. And what that does, not judging yourself, then you are also able to not judge others, because you drew the line in the sand, and you said, I refuse to judge yourself, which then is going to also ripple out into the world, because you're going to have more compassion because you refuse the judgment. That is one of my boundaries. That's something that I've done for myself years ago, when I had that realization. Oh, I'm still doing this pattern. Oh, I'm still judging myself, and I want to stop that once and for all. And I said, what do I need to do? And that's when I realized I need to put a boundary down, and I absolutely refuse to judge myself and my body, my situations, you know, because it doesn't deserve to be judged. It doesn't deserve to be judged. I don't deserve to be judged, and I don't want to judge others. I don't want to judge myself. So it all starts there. And then when you can work with yourself in that way, then you're going to also bring that into your interpersonal relationships, with how you relate to the world. You have more compassion, and it really begins at home.
It does.
It's absolutely key point, Kornelia. And also, since you're talking about that particular example of someone judging her body, if you really listen to the body, when the body is in a place of judgment or triggers are happening, if you pay attention, you'll notice all of your breath rises to the upper part of your chest. You stop doing deep, calm breathing because you're either triggered or you're judging and blaming. And the minute you want to stop the pattern, the first thing you need to do is say, I have to stop thinking right now. I have to focus on my breath, and let the breath drop back into the belly. And when it does that, you can calm yourself to find the perspective you're looking for to make the changes.
Yeah.
So the body really participates with this.
It does. What you two are talking about is really pretty simple. Self-acceptance and self-love have to be in place in our own lives, personally, individually. If self-acceptance and self-love aren't there, we cannot affect or really do anything outside of ourselves. We cannot be successful at trying to help other people, trying to help the world situation. If there's no self-acceptance, if there's no self-love, we are going to project, we are going to blame, we're going to do all those things that negatively ripple out and affect everyone else. So we've talked about this with you before on many shows. Self-love, and I'm adding self-acceptance as a slightly different term. If we don't practice that, how can we possibly try to do what we think we're doing in a healing way outside of ourselves? It won't work.
The same person that said to me, Cornelia, you're so serious. On another day, she said, Cornelia, you have such a gentle way of how you, how you talk, how you put, how you uh, talk about things. And then I reminded her the gentle way that I'm talking is how I'm talking to myself. And I
Good
said, so
reminder.
what you are seeing, this is how I talk to myself. That's why that line in the sand and what you're hearing, that this gentle way that you're perceiving, that's how I talk to myself. That's the order of this house. That's how we do it here. And that's the boundary. That's why refusing to judge yourself, holding yourself in utmost respect and love and honor and truth, and that's the law of the land. That is the law of the land. That is the law of this home, of this land. And treating myself with love and compassion and kindness and gentleness, that's the way that I want to treat others, right? So, but it first starts again with the self, like we've talked about many, many times. But I think it's so important that we're bringing it up again, because we're talking about creating our new earth. We're talking about building upon a foundation that we're now moving, building upon in earnest. What reality are we creating in no time, with gentleness, with truth, with love, with hope, with compassion? And how can we together, when the beings themselves realize they are the creator of their reality, and that we're all doing this together, and what can we accomplish when we're all acting like this?
I think if we look at one historical figure, if we look at Gandhi, he created exactly what you're talking about. He created a situation, a momentum, a marvelous example of not projecting, not blaming, not reacting to what was happening to himself and his culture. He only looked at what was going on as an obstacle. He only looked at it as something he could not fix, but he could maneuver around and change what was actually happening by doing exactly what we're talking about right now. And I look at him
Responding instead of reacting.
exactly. And I look at him as one of the purest examples. People talk about so many different people historically that they believe were really powerful and really world changing. I narrow those choices down for me to that one person. He, I think, was the best example of doing exactly what we're talking about today together. And guess what? He changed the world.
He did.
I don't know if the quote really came from him. It's been attributed to him all these years, but the quote is something like, if you really want to change the world, you must change yourself first.
Be the change you wish to see in the world.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's what we're striving for. I think his example is probably one of the most shining examples of how to create a different world, how to create a different paradigm, how to create a heaven on earth. I mean, he really was instrumental in changing the entire world through what he believed we could all do together.
Yeah, the quote, be the change that you want to see in the world, be the love that you want to see in the world, be the peace that you want to see in the world, be the example that you want to be in the world. I mean, it's very simple,
Mm-hmm.
again, and bringing it back right now into the now. What are you creating right now with being the peace, being the love, being the change that you want to see in the world? Because that creation will ripple out, is rippling out, and is helping our collective timeline together that we're choosing in co creating our new earth together as we're moving forward into this next cycle that we're talking about here. The excitement of what it is that we're creating, because we've been working on our personal growth, our raising our frequency, doing the deep shadow work. And now there is a next level of responsibility of creating from our creator state of being, of knowing that we're not victims of our circumstances or the challenges that we find ourselves in, but that we can be with the mess and also bring our creator abilities to, like Gandhi did. He wasn't pointing fingers, and he created that movement, and he did change the world, and we are changing the world. There's those two worlds that are playing out. One is the new earth that we're creating, and then one is the old world that is still trying to find victims to play over here. And we
Mm-hmm.
get to choose, where do you want to energize? Where do you want to be? What do you stand for? What do you demand? What line in the sand are you going to draw and say, not in my house, not over here? That's not how we do it here. We don't do this here. We don't project. We don't blame. We don't judge. This is how we do it here. So in our new earth creation, this is what we're standing up for. That's the part I'm so excited about. And I'm even feeling like, okay, yeah, I'm ready to get back on the horse. I'm ready to get back in the game, because this last 9 months or whatever, like I said, I felt battle weary. I was exhausted from just all the crap. Honestly, it was like, okay, but I'm excited and ready to get back in the ring and create again. And I've, washed off all the tar, whatever. That's what it felt like.
Well, your light will shine out and help others realize that they can do exactly what you've accomplished. And that we can't change anybody. It's supremely important to realize that we can't change anybody.
It's not our job to change anybody
we can only change ourselves. Yet, teaching by example from what we've learned in our own personal journey and putting that out into the universe is the best way to allow other people to change. If people see the light, if people see the love that each of us creates and beams out of ourselves, whether it's through a smile or through the twinkle in our eye, it doesn't matter, or our soft words, as you said earlier, gentle words. That is the way to change the world. That is the way to actually create an atmosphere that people will look at and go, oh, I can do that. I can be like that. I'm going to maybe subtly or maybe dramatically change how I perceive who I am and what's going on around me. And that is the best way to teach.
It's, again, being the example, living the example, being being who you are in your truth, and standing up for that, and treating people how you want to be treated. That's, again, it's the simplicity of that, is what will you stand for? What do you want to see uh, be realized in the world? And it begins with us. It begins with each of us. The way I see, like sometimes the way I look at the world and the people and all of that, I look at them as we're all the children, right? We're all children making choices, to you know be allowed to choose which path we want to take
Mhm.
and which world do we want to live in, and allowing the children to make choices. So the mother in me and the father in me is allowing the children to choose where they want to go, which choices that they want to make. And but here, the inner parent in me that has mothered me, that has fathered me, uh, is strong and leading by example, like what you just said. And so that's the stand that we have to take. It's exciting. So what are you all working on now? So, now that we're coming out of summer, we're moving into fall. What are you all working on currently? Anything?
Well, Cullen just told you about the article we just finished. We have a couple of other articles we're working on, and I have a Pleiadian Earth Energy Astrology workshop coming up in November that'll
Oh,
be on the website in the next few days. So that's something that I'm working on, and Cullen's helping me craft it through his expertise. So that's one thing that's coming up. I don't know what else. What else are we working on? A lot of personal crises that we are stepping in to help people. A lot of people who are at that place of Pluto and Capricorn where the train wreck happens, and they need a little help with their shovel to get it out. We're doing a lot of emergency crisis personal sessions with LARCMA and with us personally. So a lot of that.
There are a tremendous amount of people around the world who feel stuck or frustrated that they're not achieving what they think they came here to achieve, or that they're not on mission to complete what they came here to do. And there's a tremendous amount of anxiety, a tremendous amount of angst over, well, I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought I was putting my energy into the right situation. And people are finding that they don't know what to do next. They don't know how to move forward. And we're working with people through, as Pia said, through LARCMA, but in our own work that we do. There's just a tremendous amount of help that people are looking for, and we're highly involved in that.
We also just published the 2024 Pleiadian Earth Energy Calendar.
nice. Look how beautiful. I love the font. I love wow, the Merkaba. That's beautiful.
It's on the website. It's a digital calendar this year, but it's got available options for printing. You can print it in the regular size we usually do, which is this size.
Yeah.
That, or you can print it if you prefer to have it in something more portable. You can print it in a little 8.5 by 11, which is the little folder thing. You can do it either way, but that's on the website now. So we just finished that. So we're always doing something.
You're always busy. You're always busy. You're always creating. And I just want to thank you so much for all the work that you do to help change the world and help us be better humans and remember who it is that we are with all your beautiful creations. I want to thank you so much for doing that.
Thank you.
And we would thank you in the same breath for what you're doing to help change the world and co-create it.
We also earlier this summer won a number of gold awards with an organization,
Coalition for Visionary Resources.
It's the biggest spiritual convention or gathering in the world for spiritual information, whether that is books, calendars, oracle cards, spiritual products, all kinds of things that have to do with enlarging people's understanding of all of the wisdom that's available to everybody. And
we won multiple things. We won the gold award for our oracle card deck, for the best oracle deck. produced in 2023. We won the calendar for the 2023 calendar. We won that award. We won the best series for our trilogy, Wisdom from the Stars trilogy. We won all of those categories this year. So it feels like we're reaching more people because of that. So we're happy with that.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that is so huge. That's a huge, huge, huge win and success and celebration.
Thank you.
Yep.
The power couple, the gold, the power couple co-creating together, the gold awards being handed out, receiving your accolades for all your incredible work helping so many people. That's so great.
Well, there's so much, Kornelia, there is so much truly good information that's coming out now to the public. This cover convention and wholesale retail, I don't know whether to call it a symposium. I don't know the correct term for it, but there were so many people bringing their information, whether it's through books, oracle cards, calendars, whatever products there are. There are so many people contributing right now to bringing the truth, to bringing spiritual wisdom to the surface.
It's a real time of change.
It's amazing. And I think probably 2023 is going to look backwards as one of the years where so much wonderful information came to the surface.
So many tools for helping people. Whatever fits their needs at the time, there's a tool out there from a good source. So we're happy to participate with that.
And what you're doing and what many other people with radio shows, podcasts that are truly bringing the truth and bringing deep information to the surface, it's invaluable. So you are in the same camp that we are. Believe me, you're doing a service that is absolutely important.
I appreciate that. And I'm also, looking forward to co-creating again from this next new beginning. So, like you mentioned earlier, mission, like what is our mission? What is the mission? What is it that we're here to create, and how people feel like, they might not have been realizing their mission and they feel like they're on the wrong path. Well, then we begin again and we look at the pathways that are available to us now, because there's many pathways, and which one will we choose? Which one excites you? Which one are you excited about stepping into? And that's even where I'm finding myself. The podcasting and doing this work is definitely what I love. I feel like that is rippling out, bringing people like you on, sharing our wisdom with the world. It's an important part because it is speaking it into the Akashic records and into our collective field. And this is all important work. So we're just going to keep showing up, and we're just going to keep doing what it is that we love to inspire people and help people.
Yes,
absolutely. Pia and I are way beyond normal retirement age. And
retirement? What's that?
Yeah, exactly. We're not going to stop. We are simply going to be part of the change, part of the resurfacing of ancient, current, and valuable wisdom and information that's needed at this point. So I think P and I will probably work as hard as we're working now, as we have for decades in the spiritual world. We will just keep doing this until it's no longer necessary.
I almost feel like the hardest parts are behind us. I feel like the hardest work has been achieved, and now it doesn't mean that there isn't going to be hard work still. It is. But I feel like the hardest parts, the ugliest parts that we've had to look at, that heavy lifting, that hard work is done, and now it's time to build and create again from the new. So all the heavy lifting has been done, and now we can really, in earnest, co-create together, build together. So let's give everybody your website and how people can find you and look you up.
Okay. Our website with our Pleiadian work is larkma.com, and that's spelled LAARKMAA.com. And if you want my information about the upcoming astrology workshop and energy workshop, that is Pia, P-I-A, Orleane, ORLEANE.com. And the workshop should be up in the next week. You'll be able to find it. You can always put yourself on my email list, and you'll get a notification when it's available.
Excellent. Thank you. And so I just want to let those listeners know, those of you that are looking to start a podcast, to create a show, or, want help to begin expressing your message with the world, you can contact me at corneliastephanie.com. You can also find me on YouTube. And please, when you're looking at the videos there and you like what it is that you're seeing, please like and subscribe to the channel. It really does help us get the information out to more and more people. We appreciate you so much. Thank you for listening and tuning in, and we're going to see you again next month. Have a great month creating, everyone. See you next time.